o'clock already. So we'll just jump in. I'm not sure who's all here or not. The weather in Texas is awesome. So people might be out enjoying something other than some scalding heat. So anyway, so we'll just start with what we have and they'll chime in as they come along. So good evening and welcome to Food Truck 201, Get Off the Truck. I am Lauren Bell, your host for tonight's discussion. I'm trying to sit this higher. Sorry about that. For tonight's discussion. And of course, I'm the co-owner of Double Trouble Philly Cheesesteaks, and I own that business with my twin sister, Lori, and her husband, Keith. So welcome. I feel like I'm upside down. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Joining us tonight. Am I upside down?
Nope.
Okay.
You're good.
So joining us tonight and every Monday night for this discussion, of course, is Bill Moore, the author of Food Truck 201, as well as Food Truck 101, From Beginner to Winner. Bill has also written other great books, such as Putting the Cart Before the Dog and Taking It to the Streets. I love saying that. I have no idea why. Unsurprisingly, Bill is the founder of this most professional Facebook group on social media today on the planet. And today we celebrate, I believe it's 30,700 plus members, if I saw that correctly. Yep. And this group is growing every day. It's unbelievable. Bill and his lovely wife, Melissa, feverishly spends time maintaining the integrity and the professionalism of this group. And we are so grateful for that. Please help me. Oh, let me also let you know, for those of you who don't know Bill, I think I just see Joanne now, but just in case others chime in, Bill brings 45 plus years of experience to this industry. He has run food trucks and large chain restaurants. We call him the guru because he is definitely the guru. If it's going to be done in food service, Bill can get it done. He can lead you that way. So we are so grateful for him. So please, with no further ado, help me welcome to the platform, Mr. Bill Moore.
Well, thank you so much for that lovely welcome. This one, I think I can actually walk through the doors now, so my ego won't be too inflated. So you did good. You did good.
Gotcha.
All right.
So right before Bill jumps on, I see a couple other people. We're going to be doing some things because people want to know, get off the truck. Food Truck 201 is this for me. And so I want people to understand. And if you're here, spread the word, pass the word that if you are here, so this book is for you if you're already open, even if it's a thought process in your mind, because you want to know how to tailor the business, right? And you want to know where you're going. You don't want to get 3 years in like we did and then have to revamp to expand or to move forward, okay? If you realize that there are financial opportunities in your business, if you are really ready to get off the truck and keep a business going, keep your business profitable without you being the cook or the cashier, this book is definitely for you. And so don't shy away because it's Food Truck 101. Maybe you haven't gone through Food Truck 101 yet. Have no fear, the information is there. Both books are on Amazon, and Bill will share the link to both of those books. They both share different information, although Food Truck 201 is more confirmation, putting it together, and is like, okay, let's get down to business. So if you're ready to advance to 201, even if you're just starting, let's get 201. Let's start getting into that so that you can exactly see where you're going. Don't wait until it's time to get there, till you get to that crossroad and then you don't know what to do. So we're going to be working on that, letting people know, promoting, letting you guys know that you are ready, you are there. This is a fast-paced business. It's growing fast. It's moving fast. And Bill has really taken the time to make sure we have all the steps. So no matter where we are, we could get up, get running, get moving, and most of all, be successful. Take it away, Bill.
All right. Well, tonight we're going to be going over pages 68 through 88, and that's in the section that's entitled Truck. And we'll be talking about the truck itself and what happens on the truck. And one of the questions that I have here is a discussion question to get us started. Name a standard or a policy or a procedure that you have or think you're going to have on your food truck. So if you guys want to unmute yourself and just chime in with something, And it doesn't have to be fancy. It can just be something you're thinking about. Anything.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Standard for us, standard is prepping. We gotta have standards for prepping and quality. Prepping the food, we cannot wait to the last minute to cut onions or to have a flow ready. So prepping is definitely going to be a policy and procedure standard, opening and closing.
Very good. Those are important. Let's see. Joanne's got her hand raised. Joanne, what you got to say?
In the morning time, when I set up, before I do anything, I take the cart off my vehicle and put it in the position. I immediately wipe it down from driving. And then I'll take before I even take anything out of it, after I wipe it down, I take the sanitizer and flood it with sanitizer on top and sanitize it. And I do the same thing the end of the day once I'm hooked to my vehicle and everything's off of it and I'm ready to drive down the road, again, wipe it down, because I don't want to drive down the road and have people see grease hanging off the side. It's gross.
That's a good point.
It just shows unprofessionalism.
It's a very good point. A lot of people don't realize that as you're in motion, you're still an advertisement for your business. So the cart, in your case, or a trailer or a truck needs to look pristine. So yeah, that's a great procedure to have. Let's see, Lori's got her hand up. Lori, what do you have to say tonight?
I was just going to say I have a opening and closing checklist, to make sure we have all of the items that we need for the day and that we don't leave anything behind. But we have, my son has left our A-frame sign behind before. So yes, we do have, and it's constantly, we're not constantly, but we have revised it a few times just as a change.
Yeah. Checklists like that tend to grow over time, and that's okay. Just the more that's on them, the less likely you are to forget something. So those are super important. And we're going to be talking about all of those things tonight.
The funny thing was with that checklist is that event I went to, I was also having my yearly inspection.
Right.
And I do have a checklist of what to take. And of all the things that I forgot to bring was my sanitizer.
Bet the health department noticed that, didn't they?
Oh no, Wendy didn't catch up with me yet. I had her turn around and she went back and grabbed it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, we're going to jump right in. I'm going to read one more. A shopping list, Michael says, absolutely. The shopping list is another system, another procedure that you need to have. Because one thing the shopping list will do is it stops you from buying too much stuff. And that's super important. All right, so we're going to talk about the standards, policies, procedures, and systems. You guys have already nailed exactly all of those things that I'm going to be talking about tonight. So I appreciate the examples. So again, standards, policies, procedures, and systems. These are 4 words that are going to guide your food truck business. They're also words that can be liberating, and it liberates you from working in the truck. Because if you think about those 4 things, they become your replacement on the truck. So at the point that you're ready to step off the truck and let someone else run it for you, all of the standards, policies, and procedures replace you. They're your voice. And it makes your life a whole lot easier if you have all of those already set up. Now, I'm willing to bet that everybody has one or more of those already on their truck, whether it's actually physically written down or it's in your mind. You know exactly what you got to do. And you know exactly what you want to do on any given thing. Like Lauren was talking about chopping onions or cutting onions. She knows how thick they're supposed to be, how many onions they need for the day, how they're supposed to be cooked, at what point do they stop cooking them, how do they hold them. All of those things she knows. But until it's written down so she can teach it to someone else, she can't get off the truck because it's all in her mind. But the second that you start to write it down so you can teach someone else, you've liberated yourself from the truck. You can say, hey guys, I need y'all to finish up prep while I go do something else that's more important to the business than you standing there and cutting onions. Cutting onions is important, but you growing the business and making those networking connections to get yourself that next great site or that big event, that's way more important than you standing there and cutting onions for the next 20 or 30 minutes. All right, so let's go through them one by one. A standard is a level of quality that is thought to be acceptable. So when you're developing your standards, you want to think in terms of numbers and times and measurements and weights and specific descriptions with vivid and understandable information. So your standards really relate to things. So it's going to be a number, it's going to be a weight. So tonight we'll talk about super simple stuff. Joanne sells hot dogs, so we'll just keep it very simple. A hot dog, a bun, and mustard. That's about as simple as you can get. So the hot dog bun itself is going to have some type of standard. You know, is it a side cut? Is it a top cut? Is it one that you cut yourself? You buy ones that are not pre-cut and you cut them yourself. Is it going to be a wheat bun? Is it going to be a white bun? Is it going to be some mix of different grains? What is your standard for your bun? What length is the bun? Is it acceptable to be a 5-inch bun or a 4 3/4-inch bun? All of those measurements, all of those standards have to be written out for a lot of different reasons. But think about when we were talking about the shopping list that Michael brought up. If you have a shopping list that says hot dog buns, the standard has to be known by the person doing the shopping. So if you delegate that to someone, hey, I need you to run down to Restaurant Depot and pick up hot dog buns, they need to know all of those standards so they get the right hot dog bun. Because even if you tell them, I need you to pick up a certain brand can have different sizes. They could have a wheat and a white variety. So you got to have those standards that the crew knows, and that only comes from you writing it down and teaching it to them. So that's what standards are. Now, I wanted to include this little quote. It's out of the book. This is actually a quote from another book that was written by Dave Thomas, and he was the founder of Wendy's. Ed Arndt, that's somebody that I worked with. So I thought this was really cool when I am reading Dave Thomas's book and he's talking about somebody that I got to work with. Ed Arndt is a big guy, Sly Stallone sized, but definitely better looking. I can tell you from experience, no. Ed Arndt was big guy for sure, but he was rather old, older than me at my age right now, but still a nice guy. Ed, since he's one of our top operations guys, has really keen senses. One day, Ed and I, and this is Dave Thomas speaking, one day, Ed and I walked into a restaurant in West Virginia, and he told the manager the instant he walked in the door, Gary, you're not slacking your fries. Now, slacking fries means that you take them and allow them to thaw. The thawing process takes those ice crystals that form during the freezing process, allows them to melt, and then obviously fall away from the potatoes. What that allows you to do is cook your French fries at a lower temperature. You can get away with about 325 to 335, as opposed to the 350 or 375 that most restaurants cook the frozen fries at. So that allows you to extend the life of your shortening, and it also allows the frying process to be a little bit more gentle. So Ed Arndt had heard the crackle and the popping of the frozen fries when they go into the fryer. And we've all seen that. It starts to bubble and fizz. It looks like somebody opened up a can of soda after it had been shaken up. But when you slack them, there's no ice crystals, there's no water. So it's a nice, gentle, very slow process as far as the cooking process goes. And Ed had heard that noise as soon as he walked into the restaurant because he was paying attention. That's what you have to do as the operator of your food truck. When you delegate someone else to be in charge of your food truck, you still have to go follow up, just like Dave Thomas and Ed Arndt did in the restaurants, to make sure the restaurants are operating to the standards you have written. And if they're not, it's a teaching opportunity. And if it happens a second time, now it becomes a discipline opportunity. And that's all that those things are: learning opportunities or discipline opportunities. If they do it right, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, a policy. Policies are a set of ideas that are used as a basis for making decisions in business. Now, that's a really complicated way of saying basically a policy is a predetermined decision. So if you're thinking about the policy of the hot dog, the mustard, and the hot dog bun, let's say that the policy is if food touches the floor, we have to put it away in a waste container, and we're going to count that waste later. That's a policy that tells somebody that when they drop a bun, what they're supposed to do with it. It doesn't tell them you can throw it in any trash can. You have to throw it in one predetermined trash can that is only used for food that we are going to discard, so we can count that food later. That's a policy. And the predetermined outcome was when the bun hits the floor, it goes in this particular trash can. And that's the only trash can that it can go into. So a policy can cover a whole multitude of things. Another policy that we're probably really familiar with is the tardiness policy. If you've ever worked at a job where you had to punch a clock, you were probably allowed some time span that you could punch in early. You can punch in a couple of minutes early, and you probably had a time span on the other side where you could be a minute or two late and not be in trouble. But once you exceeded whatever the policy was written, you were in trouble. That's the predetermined decision. Once you go 2 minutes late, you are in trouble, and this will happen. And see, at that point, you don't have to be worried about hurting somebody's feelings. You don't have to be worried about being the bad guy, because they know the policy. You should be teaching the policy. So when somebody is late, they're, say 5 minutes late, and you say, you know what's going to happen, they should know. I'm going to get whatever your disciplinary action is for that particular problem that they did. That's all that a policy is. Now, the neat thing about a policy, it also helps you to keep yourself honest with your business. So let's say it's a really, really good employee that's 5 minutes late. Well, man, I don't want to write them up or do whatever I'm supposed to do to them, because they'll get mad and they'll quit, and I can't afford to lose them. The policy's written. It has to be enforced. Otherwise, guess what you are? You're a liar. And do you really want to be a liar? I've told you what's going to happen when you're going to be late. I have to write you up. And you know that because you know what the policy is. And that's what you would say to your employee. And they should understand that, hey, I need to have my hand slapped because I did something that broke the rules. That's called being an adult. And even if you're hiring teenagers, you want to teach them to be good adults. Okay, so moving on from a policy, we go into procedures. A procedure is a way of doing something that is considered the official and the correct way. So think of a procedure as a recipe. So a procedure in part explains the details on how to accomplish. Sometimes it's policies, sometimes it's standards, but it explains how to do those. So with the hot dog analogy, we have the hot dog bun, we have a hot dog, we have mustard. The procedure would explain, are we going to toast the hot dog bun? Are we going to steam the hot dog bun? We put the hot dog inside the bun first. Do we put the mustard in first? It explains all of the proper way to sell that particular hot dog. The hot dog goes into a fluted paper, or does it go into a clamshell? Does it go into a sleeve? That's what a procedure does. It takes you all the way through all the details. So there's nothing left to chance. And when you have it written out in that detail, when someone doesn't do it right, then there has to be, a policy that matches that. If you're unable to follow the training rules and regulations, we're either going to retrain you or terminate you. It's pretty simple. But that's what a procedure is. It's a recipe, the official way to do something in your business. A system. A system is a way of working or organizing or doing something which follows a fixed set of rules. A checklist is a system or part of a system. So the system has to organize the task in a manner that allows for duplication of that task by everyone on your team. So the system, sticking with the hot dog, let's say that we wrap the hot dog. So we place a hot dog bun on the wrap. We open up the hot dog bun. We put in the hot dog. We put on it 3/4 of an ounce of mustard that's dispensed from a squirt bottle in a zigzag pattern from one end of the hot dog to the other. We then take the closest part of the wrap to our body. We fold it over the hot dog. We reach up, take the farthest corner of the wrap, pull it over the hot dog, and then tuck the two corners in like a Christmas package and tuck them underneath the sandwich. You can do that with every single product. You're going to explain the system for it. And then the broader system will be the checklist that we talked about. You have an opening checklist, a closing checklist, and I have a whole bunch of other examples I'm going to read off to y'all in just a second. But a checklist is there to help make sure you don't forget things. It's also there to help make sure that the tasks are being done the way you expected them to be done. So a checklist can not only be a reminder, it can also be a test. It can also be a grading system where we're making sure that you're doing what I trained you to do. That way you're earning the money I am paying you. So here's some of the checklists that you could have that would help to complete the systems. You could have a guest service checklist, and that can be as detailed as you want it to be. It could actually be a script. Hi, welcome to the food truck. Would you like to try a hot dog today with mustard? It is our specialty. That becomes what you want your staff to say, and that's your expectation of them saying it every single time somebody steps up to the window to place an order. And you can go through how they're supposed to call out the name or the number, or however you tell people that your food's up. You can go through what they should do when they get a call-in order, a walk-up order, a online order. All of those things fall under guest service. So that way you're teaching that employee and they have something to go by. Oh, yes, I know how to do this. Oh, yes, I know how to do this. You could have a purchasing checklist. If you're going to let somebody else do the shopping for you, like we talked about a few minutes ago, they need to know exactly what brand, and then within that brand, what are the details on each product. A receiving checklist. When you have deliveries brought to you, there are certain things you should go through to make sure the food is of the highest quality and you're actually getting what you paid for. I don't remember if it's in this book or one of my other books, but produce is one of those things that people can have delivered to them because there's always local produce companies that are delivering out of vans and very small box trucks. So they'll bring in the produce. Produce companies are also very notorious for, yeah, you got a 25-pound bag of tomato, or 25-pound box of tomatoes rather, but when you go to weigh it, it doesn't have 25 pounds in it. It'll have 22 pounds, 23 pounds. So you have on your checklist to weigh, spot weigh certain things, to take spot temperatures of frozen food or refrigerated food to make sure it's within the appropriate temperature ranges. Because if it's not, you don't want to receive that food. You want them to take it, because for every so many degrees above 40, it cuts off shelf time. And you don't want to lose shelf time. You want the distributor to worry about the shelf time. You shouldn't have to worry about something being over 3 or 4 degrees and you losing 8 or 10 hours of shelf time. You have a storage checklist. Where am I putting stuff? How's it supposed to be stored? Do I cut off box flaps? Do we wrap it in bungee cords? You want to have those details thought out. Food preparation. How much food? How's it to be prepped? How's it to be cut? When's it to be cut? How far is it cooked? Is it par cooked? Is it blanched? All those details. Cleaning checklist. And the cleaning checklist is not only daily, it can also be weekly and monthly, quarterly, even semi-annually. There are certain tasks that have to be done. You want to have all those on a checklist. The truck leader, somebody that's going to be opening for you, they need to have an opening checklist so things get done. So when you show up, whenever you do show up, you can look at that checklist and go, hey, you're doing awesome. Or, hey, you forgot some things. Let's get on this checklist and get it done. Shift change. If you run multiple shifts, at some point you're going to want your food truck to be open for lunch and for dinner. And it doesn't mean you're there for both meal periods. Somebody else is going to be there, but you have to have a shift change checklist so that you don't have the bickering. Well, night shift didn't do this and day shift didn't do that. If they each have a checklist, was it done or was it not done? Pretty simple. truck leader closing checklist, catering checklist, delivery checklist, cashier training, new hire, new employee orientation, internal operations. All of these different checklists are to help you to stay organized and get the thoughts of how you run your business out of your brain and down on a piece of paper so you can train someone else to do it the way that you want it to be done. Because that's what's important. You're developing your own brand. And whether you only keep one truck for the rest of your life, wouldn't it be great for you to go on vacation and that truck still operate while you're on vacation? Wouldn't it be great to take your idea and have someone come up to you and say, hey, I love how you operate. I would like to buy one of these. And then you can decide whether you just franchise or license or just sell them a truck and teach them how to do it. And then, of course, them pay you handsomely for your knowledge and your abilities. So this book is not about you owning a fleet of food trucks. It's how to get you to that point. You don't have to do it. But I definitely don't want you guys stuck being a cook all day long, because you can go be a cook for somebody else and honestly probably bring more money home in some cases. The quality of a leader is reflected in the standards that they set for themselves. It's what Ray Kroc from McDonald's said. The first part of the book is all about teaching you how to be a good leader. One of the very early things I got to do as a manager was go through a personal development program that Rack's Restaurants put on. And I was real young and I was real naive and did not want to do it for a second. All I wanted to do was go through the motion so that I could get the raise that was associated with it on the other side of the class. I wish I'd have paid more attention. Took me about 10 years or so to figure that out. I wish I'd have applied myself when I was given the opportunities. I wish I'd have had those standards for myself so that I could have gotten farther faster. So people tend to blow off things when it's about them. You want to help you to be a better person. Nah, I'm a good enough person. I don't want that. So the first part of the book is about you. The second part is about the truck. You got to have you being a great leader so that you'll take the things on the truck that I just mentioned seriously, so that you can actually step off the truck and run a business. And that won't happen until you start to do some of the things that we're talking about.